Hey na, hey na. Welcome to Star Songs. Start with a prayer. Great Spirit, Divine Source, Universe, Sophia, Divine Mother and Father, please hear our call today. I am asking that you please come through in all words, in all spaces, in all aspects of my being in the here and now. Help me anchor and integrate as I continue to share this experience of Star Songs for other like-minded beautiful souls who want to be along the journey in the vehicle of light, traveling light, experiencing light and darkness, and just enjoying the journey of traveling through our own cosmos, through our own multidimensional beingness in the here and now. Great Spirit, please dissolve any resistance, dissolve any fear, dissolve any obstacles, any untruths that need to be cleared for this message to come through, to be received, to be integrated, and to be in the expression of shared communion in the here and now. Calling in different star systems, those that I feel are most relevant to this particular experience of initiation. Calling in the founders of our universal creations and our beingness in the here and now. Calling in the birds, the four-legged, two-legged, the all-legged, the crystalline beings, the plant kingdom or the tree kingdom, all of the animals, ocean, land, just seeing them all come in and hearing a butcher bird outside doing a beautiful song. Thank you, butcher bird. Calling in crow medicine, helping me speak and come through with the message that's coming through for today in the here and now. Be in alignment with the will of God in the here and now, Great Spirit, just letting you know, we're here, we're in it. Just allowing all sound and space between sound and potentiality and possibility and probability to all be brought into this one being of star that we are sharing in the here and now, in this Star Songs, converging into one star to be shared as a clear message of initiation in the here and now. Hoko doria nakahina kahano, doria kahani hikata, tahoto, dakaya, hina, takahana, diano kohono rea takahaya. That came through very strongly through a being that calling in the most high energies within all of us, that we are the divine daughters and sons of the Most High, that we are here to be the change makers, the creation expressions of God, the creation practitioners of God in the here and now, expressing our creativity through each of our divine expressions of life across all lifetimes as multidimensional beings in the here and now. Please clear any obstacles, insecurities, fears, any kind of reasoning why someone couldn't move forward in their life in any way, shape or form, bringing it into this space to be totally cleared and transmuted, dissolved in flames, in smoke and ash. Just bring it all back to its most purest form in the here and now and help us nourish our souls through this initiation process through star songs. I'm seeing many beings represented in through the cosmic councils, beings that come from Lyra, Vega, Sirius, the sun, our solar sun, our central star that's going through a huge transformation at this time. The Orion star system and all of the light that has been learned through experiences of polarity in that star system, in that constellation, in the Andromedan galaxy and Andromedan system, the Pleiadian star system, the Arcturian star system, all the brothers and sisters and the daughters and the sons and the fathers and the mothers of the Most High, all coming to support this prayer of initiation in the here and now. And any earth masters, beings that have transcended the earth frequency but have chosen to stay back and serve humanity and continue to serve in the outside perspective of our reality, but totally anchoring us into the love flame in the here and now in the most truthful, loving, beautiful way, bringing them in. I am calling in the guardians of the Akashic records that would like to come through and just help the appropriate words and information relate to what is most useful and beneficial for the beings that happen to be present, and how this prayer extends out to anyone else beyond that. I'll leave it in your hands, Great Spirit. And any other star systems that I haven't mentioned, there are multitude or miscellaneous different experiences of beings that are a part of cosmic councils that are here to serve the greater mission and purpose of our ascension, our evolution, and our initiation. So let's get into it. Thank you so much, Great Spirit. I'm ready for this. Lots of love. We love you. We're so grateful. We receive with our hearts open, and we are just ready to experience the transmission today. Thank you. By the power of three, the perfect Trinity, it is done, it is done, it is done. Thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you. When we experience the unknown, the void in which we are always in oneness with, in the unified field, the all-expansive energy of the void, or the unified field, in a place totally encompassed and held within our beingness in the here and now. We experience the light, the dark, and the unity of the oneness in which those experiences and expressions create from source. That we are the conduits that exist in the unity of our conscious experience on a wave of transformation. We are the surfers of this wave. On the top of the wave, we see from higher view, from our higher self. We are the wave itself, is universal cosmic energy expressing itself through planetary celestial body experience, through the water, the air, the land in which it lands to or brushes up against, and the sun that shines upon on day, and the moon that reflects the light during night. We are all aspects of creation in the here and now, and we have all present and available for us to create with, if we trust and walk in faith in the here and now. The unified field of consciousness is an infinite potentiality of our beingness that exists every opportunity, every possible creativity, every possible expression, everything that has existed or doesn't exist in physical form or no form in the here and now. The no thing. The no thing is all thing, and we are here to experience the all thing and the no thing through something of our human experience, as conduits, as above, so below, and as below, so above. Our initiation as earth beings in the here and now is a process of rigorous self-exploration, facing our fears, overcoming obstacles, recognizing ourselves as the creator of obstacles, recognizing ourselves as the remover of obstacles, recognizing ourselves as creators in the here and now, expressing our multidimensional consciousness in all form and no form, in the past, present, and future of this here and now moment. No matter where you're coming from, or what time you are watching this, or how you are connecting in with this, whether physically or visually or through interdimensionally, through interplanetary, we are in the unity consciousness of this unified field of source, and we perceive ourselves to be experiencing our reality, the timelines and narratives in which unfold before us and within us and from behind us, and our perceptions of thereof. Initiation is a calling of the courage to go into the unknown, to trust in the void, the unified field, and learn to take each step and just know and trust that the foundation will present itself for our feet to make contact, for our feet to connect in or anchor into this experience every step we take in our lives, literally as in physical steps on the earth, but also symbolically, how we connect our experience of being a conduit through this body nature technology, through our choices around sovereignty and that of slavery, whether we stay enslaved to our old belief systems or decide to try something new and face the fear of whatever they represented, whatever you were afraid to face, whatever you were afraid to confront. There's nothing more, from the human perspective, scarier than looking at a blank canvas or looking into the void. Even though really there are far more scary experiences in the bigger scheme of things. The void is something we can't necessarily use words to describe, but we'll do our best. Facing our fear of the unknown is initiation. It is trusting in ourselves to initiate ourselves in this here and now experience through the trust and faith of walking along our path with support from those beings that we call in, from Great Spirit, from the beings that are here on their own mission, here to support our earthly incarnation and experience, and our higher self, in which oversees this whole process. This creational experiential reality as a human extends to many different star systems and planetary bodies and ships. We have not just the experience of being human on Earth, but there are human consciousness, or the body nature technology that resembles or is in connection with the human experience on multiple star systems. So our consciousness that is very linked to Earth and our journey on Earth is also a conduit to other experiences on other star systems in humanoid form to begin with, in terms of understanding or walking into that understanding of remembering and realizing that, of course, Earth isn't the only planet that exists in this whole solar system with life force as a part, because the living presence of life, whether we perceive something to be dead or not, there is always living presence, and there is always a continual unfolding of that living presence in various stages or phases or seasons. Our connection to these different star systems and the remembrance of our multidimensionality, remembering that we are incarnating on multiple star systems in the here and now, that our perception of where we are originated from obviously comes from this void and this source originally, the creation space that is a void, which creates all of reality, all of experience, all of potentiality. But to also remember that we have different origins or different specific star coordinates or lineages within particular vibrations and frequencies which are happening right now. We are multidimensional, and we are in a human journey on Earth, remembering. Re is Ra, the light, and remembering meaning team or membership. So we are remembering ourselves into the oneness that we always have been and always will be. But we had the experience of individual perception, which created a perception of separateness, that I'm separate to you and that you're separate to me. And yes, we are source having these experiences, expressing ourselves as different divine sparks of source. And we have these unique journeys and responsibilities within our own human realm. But we're also having multitude of different other experiences that might not even be human related, but we'll stick to human for the time being, in terms of human, could be human on other star systems, human on other planets, humanoid frequencies or energies. Obviously, we are in service to planet Earth, Gaia. I call her Gaia Star, or call him Gaia Star, or Mother, Father, Child. Gaia is also the Holy Trinity of Gaia. There are many aspects of ourselves as Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine, and the Holy Child. But we have these responsibilities on Earth, and one of those responsibilities as we continue to transition is actually learning how to be more connected to more parts of yourself and to awaken yourself to those experiences. The way that I can see it right now that they're showing me is that there's like multiple anchor points to one life, one particular energy or being experiencing specific and unique rundowns of those experiences in a multitude of different ways. This happens because we are multidimensional, and from the third dimensional perspective, it's harder to perceive that because we see everything more as linear. Not that it is, but we experience reality from that tone. That when we start to open ourselves up to realizing we are more, we are connected to more, we are initiating ourselves into more of who we are, into more of the divine mystery or the divine known, whatever that is, in multiple of lifetimes. Sometimes the gates start opening and energy starts flooding in, and a lot of downloads or information comes through that can be quite confusing and conflicting. And what I'm being shown here is that, and what I'm being told to communicate or asked to communicate, is that take it slow, but commit to it daily. You know, even if try to focus on one aspect that you're picking up and not get caught up in all of the various informations that are linked if you're feeling overwhelmed at this time, while we initiate ourselves into the higher responsibilities of what we perceive as the human, the rainbow of color beingness that we are, the technicolored beings that we are in our multidimensionality, experiencing ourselves from a physical perspective, moving from third dimension to fourth dimensional kind of consciousness, I guess, where our understanding of spirituality might have been very whole and complete within itself up until a point, but now that we're going through these transitions, it actually means that everything that we are experiencing is very experiential, and that it's only the commitment that you put in, what you put in, you will get out, in terms of understanding how to make sense of these transitions that are happening at this time. So when you're connecting into other aspects of yourself, whether it's past life on this planet, or you're starting to receive information around other star systems in which you've inhabited, which a lot of us have inhabited many different star systems, because they offer varying degrees of some of the same aspects that we're wanting to learn from. So it gives us different dimensional realities or perspectives through the one narrative. For example, on a third dimensional reality, I don't know, I'm just going to give anything that comes to mind. I might be outside and the bird comes and visits me. And maybe I see this bird reflecting in a lake. So there's 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions. There's my experience standing there, and then I'm seeing a bird turn up in front of me. So I'm watching the bird, and then I'm also seeing the reflection of the bird in a puddle or in a pond. And then maybe somebody drives past and the reflection of that bird goes into the windscreen of that car while it drives past. This, for me, when I'm receiving this, I'm being shown that this is how multidimensionally we are. Like, we just don't always pick up on the reflections of light in which we are. Like, that bird is an aspect of us. The reflection of the pond and the water is an aspect of us. It's all showing us and who we truly are. And in that moment, if you can be fully present with just the bird and not pick up on those other elements, and that's fine as well. That's still having a purely present experience. But I guess what's happening now is we're starting to get a lot more biofeedback in our reality, in our experience. And so to look out and be aware of all the different reflections that are coming through in that one moment is part of the new way of the human, is to learning how to be in the here and now and discern reality, but also like perceive reality from a less regimented like perspective, starting to like become more dynamic as our consciousness evolves. And the goal for us, I guess, at this time is to initiate ourselves into the remembrance, the light membership of who we truly are. And to do that with each other, we first, not first as in it just has to be literally linear, but first as in we really do have to recognize the different aspects of ourselves and start figuring out where our challenges lie, where our gifts lie, where we have more work to do, what aspect is coming through that reflects a type of slavery consciousness. Maybe in another lifetime on another star system, you were in some type of slavery, and maybe in your job you feel that same oppressive energy, and maybe in your job you don't realize that it relates to that other lifetime, but the vibration is still the same. We talked about vibrational alignment, and vibration is showing you where you're at, not necessarily, the plan that you have, or even necessarily, it can be momentarily shifted. Something bad can happen, or something really amazing can happen, and you can lift or lower your vibration. So from my understanding and what's coming through is like understanding that fourth dimensional reality means that we have to really start understanding as above, so below, how we're moving through our reality, how we're reflecting that back through the multitude of different self-reflections in others as well. But sometimes that can be a little bit confusing, because there are beings that have incarnated at this time that don't have very developed emotional bodies, or don't have many lifetimes where they've developed their emotional bodies. So maybe they've been in an earth body, and maybe this is their only opportunity to develop that emotional body, for example, but they might be classed as narcissist, or different titles that have been like given as file names within our reality that actually represent somebody that needs to have more experience with their emotional body, for example. So there's all these different experiences that are available as part of this multidimensional experience. And what we did do in life is changing. The way in which we're interacting with experiences in the here and now is changing. And so we've got to be experimentally open, where we know that sometimes that can mean that we can have difficult experiences, because experiential means that sometimes viscerally, or like in your senses, you can not enjoy an interaction or an energy, where you start becoming more sensitive to people's thoughts, for example, or people's words, or, the way people are feeling. You might pick up on that a lot more deeply. And initially it can feel like it's hurting us having these senses. Initiating ourselves into the multidimensional experience can feel painful as an initial experience. We're sort of feeling our way through this. It's very experimental. So the purpose of experiencing our multidimensional beingness in the moment and being more aware of different reflections is just a training. It can start really small. It can start with like you being near a fire and you notice some dragonflies move past you, and you don't have to analyze that mentally, but you can know that that's a good sign that there's something going on, there's something being cleared, for example. Recognizing how the universe is having a conversation with us, a lot of the times non-verbal, and by recognizing this conversation, you're able to sort of tap into it more and have it and ask questions. So you can say, in the next few hours, in my perspective of time, can you please, bring in some insights around da-da-da-da? And if you're aware enough, you'll notice things to come in, because you're asking and you're calling and you're organizing the information. You're organizing your reality by affirming it, by being vibrationally in alignment with it. And when we're in a vibrational alignment with our reality, we are we are able to recognize the subtle synchronicities that are continuously unfolding for us. And by noticing them, by being aware of them, by appreciating them, by acknowledging them, we are actually letting spirit know, hey, we're choosing to engage in this more multidimensional way of being. And that can be done in multitude of different ways. I just got the word feeling. So, you know, through feeling our experience, instead of suppressing feeling, we're learning how to embody that. And when you're learning how to dance, for example, and you love to dance, but you might not have any kind of practice behind you, initially you're going to have to do all the wrong things to know what that feels like. It's not wrong in any way, shape, or form, but in terms of, say, a particular framework of dance, a specific type of dance, say ballet dance, there's a lot of practice that goes into becoming a ballet dancer. It takes a long time. But say you just want to be able to experience what that is. Initially, that might be painful on your body. It might be uncomfortable. It might feel really bewildering. It's like, I'm using that as an example because I'm being shown that like sensory experience is amplifying right now. So we're becoming a lot more embodied in our senses that go beyond just addiction, habitual based habits. We're being given, you know, more and more opportunities, if we're aware of them and we're choosing to engage within that, to go beyond a lot of those perceptions of identity or habits that have formed as a part of our perception of identity. And this is a process which I would call initiation. This is initiating yourselves through your senses, through your sensory experience, and becoming more embodied in feeling, in learning how to not just be in a conceptual, thought-based reality, learning how to be in your feeling. And sometimes that is not comfortable. Sometimes that can bring up a lot, you know, in terms of that experience. And sometimes because it feels more abstract, it doesn't feel like you can control it the same way you can maybe with a thought process sometimes. And when you're dealing with thoughts and feelings that are bombarding or really intense, it can feel like you're being attacked by your thoughts or your feelings. And I'm just being shown that what really needs to happen for us to initiate is to be willing. It's just being open and going, okay, I know that it might not be easy for me to step into this sensory experience, which is why a lot of people are experiencing their trauma now, is that they're having to go through layers of trauma to embody that experience, to acknowledge that embodiment, the way in which the body has taken on all of those memories and emotional disturbances needs to come into harmony with its experience. Our body nature technology is literally a body, a vehicle, nature, which is governed by nature, and a technology. And it's not the type of technology that is mechanical or AI related. It's a technology that is like the living presence of life. It's self-regulating, it's self-nourishing, it's self-loving, but there are a lot of patterns and energies that are often present in our world, which can really take us off our sensory experience, off embodying more of our intuition, our, you know, whatever you want to call it, the different aspects of our communication. Because communication isn't just the words that I'm saying, it's the space between each word that gives each word a definition. It's the space that gives the definition. It's not the word itself. But we perceive words to be separate to anything else, you know. So when we understand the balance of what sound is, when sound is coming through, when I'm bringing a song through, what makes it a song is the variation or the tone or the way it moves, the way it creates a rhythm, or the way it creates a sort of a change in the body or change in one's experience or perception. And these changes are going to become more intense as we continue on through this initiation process for human on Earth in the here and now. And this Earth beingness is certainly there's an energy of absolutely coming into sync with cosmos, coming into the sun is going through massive shifts. The different shifts that are happening, of course, we have chosen to incarnate at this time because we wanted to experience and sensually embody the experience. From a conceptual level, it's great. From a actual visceral, human experience, it can be less pleasant. It can be really beautiful and amazing and so fulfilling, but it can also be really intense. So initiation is a place and space within ourselves where we start to turn things online, where we start to get online on multiple levels of ourselves. And at first, that information, or the way in which we have to organize our reality, through being present and being fully grounded and anchored, but then at the same time fully present in spirit, like having that balance, that's, from my understanding and what is being shown, is literally how we remain more neutral in terms of being a conduit during this process of transformation. And so initiating ourselves is remembering that we are source, and that source works through us, and that we are the experiencer of source working through us, and we are also the experiencer of having a human perception, having human perceptions that follow on from each other. And balancing all of these is really just about being receptive. Being receptive to being connected and embodied, and not seeing it as just being unwell or bad. Just because it feels uncomfortable doesn't mean it's all bad. Some things are purely just growth spurts, like we're going through growth and we're having to learn to stretch our consciousness in different ways, and stretch ourselves and stretch into our missions in ways that we would not have perceived 5 years ago. So initiation is coming back into the remembrance, the light membership of who we truly are and what we've always been. And it is clearly and directly uniting our consciousness with all the different experiences that are happening multidimensional in the here and now. And that's not something you have to necessarily figure out like it's a test as such, because there's going to be so many things that open up from each moment, because we are a walking portal and we are connected inwardly and outwardly to all realities and all vibrations and frequencies from Earth. We have the choices. We can go as low as we want or as high as we want. These are all choices that we have in our remembrance, in our light membership. But I guess the thing I would probably bring up as a focus would be being receptive to feeling, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable. Giving yourself time in the day, whether you set an alarm, where you can just allow yourself to feel. Some people call that meditation. It can be whatever you need, but the more that you practice being in your sensory experience, the more that you practice being in nature and observing the different reflections of you coming through, like the bird, the reflection of the bird, the car driving past us, all these different aspects of this one message that is reverberating in reality that you're experiencing in the here and now. And the more that you call in synchronicities and the more that you notice them, the more that they will be the way in which you live. You live in a dynamic, continual experience of multidimensionality, and then you just stop trying to count all the synchronicities and you just start enjoying them. And so initiation to me is about being in the synchronistic state, which is the vibrational alignment, which was one of the number 2 video of Star Songs. They do go in a progression in terms of a teaching. Remembering is remembering the light team that we are. Vibrational alignment is recognizing our responsibility to maintain our vibration and our responsibility as creators in our own experience and life. And then the co-creation being, once we understand these more sort of the goal and the foundational principle is remaining in vibrational alignment with spirit in whatever way does that for you. It'll be different person to person because we're all divine aspects of spirit. And co-creation is then when we're in a place of learning how to be in alignment, how do we co-create with not only aspects of ourselves that exist and don't exist in the physical form and no form, but also our guides and our teams that work around us, but also then like with each other, learning how to be in an evolved state of working together and problem solving, which is part of our next big chapter with humanity. Is really, we've got a lot of changes to sort out together, and we're all figuring this out as an experimental experience or experiential experience. So, and then from that point, when we're doing work like that, then we're connecting in with beings if we're in a very stable and anchored place, and we are able to very much see our responsibility as individuals on the, the human earth level. And then when we start opening ourselves up and start to recognize more of the responsibility that goes beyond that human perspective, then we start having interactions with energies and beings that more directly, that we might have had whispers or synchronicities and things, but they start to come in more regularly and more daily, and part of the continual. It's like I call it the cosmic meeting in my head, like it were in my heart. It's just like there's always these mulling over of ideas and building there's a co-creation happening. I'm trying to figure out, how do I bring that through? What is my role in all of this to bring it through on earth? There are other beings that have different roles and that are there to support you, but your role is also supporting them. That is the co-creation. And then obviously, time and space, that was something that was number 4 episode, which was about recognizing that everything is now, and that our perceptions of distance is sometimes a hindrance to us just getting on with what we need to do, and creating separation without even realizing we're doing it, by thinking that we're from one planet or one place, which we might have a very direct experience with, but we're not necessarily from that planet. We're from source. And then, then it went to cosmic, I think it was divine partnerships, and then cosmic mother and cosmic father, and then maturity. So there's a progression, there's a stages that have been offered through different forms of channeling or different forms of transmission. And I'm in this process of experiential journeying with this as well, because there are certain ways that I do things, maybe at certain times, and then very quickly they get like, it changes, because I'm very dynamic and I am very right-brained, and I have to trust that what I'm doing, that what's coming through, and set the energy up obviously appropriately, organize, making sure I'm in a vibrational alignment with my own mission and my own purpose when I step into this, and then not get in the way by just thinking it should look the way it used to look, or the last episode, how it should look, what channeling looks like. I'm just going through the progressions of different expressions of channeling, or what we call channeling. I would call it a transmission, and it comes through in all different ways. And sometimes my human experience is very much leaned upon, and sometimes my human experience is literally the vehicle, but I need to space things out more. So it's also, I'm giving that as an example to help you understand that this is experiential, that Star Songs is an experiential thing, and that is part of stepping into the unknown, and that is a part of my initiation. This is part of my mission, to step into the unknown and trust that whenever I need the answers, or whenever I'm at that vibration where I'm ready to share something, that it will come through in the most appropriate way for those who are present and sharing this experience with me. So I just want to say thank you so much for your love and support, and for taking the time to watch Star Songs, and very much thanking you for initiating yourselves into your multidimensionality and trusting in your way. And that way may be different to the way that you thought was your way a way ago. I don't know. It just happens like that. And it's like learning how to trust in the flow, that somehow you'll have the ability and the support at any given moment to help you maintain that vibrational alignment. And obviously this time of initiation means there are a lot of tests, not tests like the way that we know from school as such. I like to clarify that, because obviously that kind of testing isn't necessarily even the way in which multidimensionality works. It's just, you'll get a series of experiences that are usually around a certain theme, and in other lifetimes that are connected to the now lifetime, there'll also be reverberation of that, and it will be sort of an overall, I see it as a map lighting up. There's just series of different types of experiences that you're learning to, I'm seeing a neurological pathway, so you're learning to pave new pathways within the collective cosmic neurological heart and mind of beingness in the here and now. So thank you so much for watching Star Songs. I really appreciate it. Lots of love.